Well, I'm making some Delrin washers. So we'll see. This is, so I ran it through once and then I tweaked the chamfers and the clearance because it was coming way the hell out. So we'll see how it goes. Thickness is right. The ID bore, man, I'm tickled pink with, because granted I got a burr there, but that is perfect. Perfect. The OD is within 0.003, and it doesn't matter at all. This is tool 2. It starts with it, comes in, does the bore all the way through. Then it comes in and does a facing op to clean up, make sure that it's at the right spot, because I just simply use this to set the depth of the stock. So then those two operations are separate. And then the other operations where I put a little chamfer on here and it goes in and it pulls back on the chamfer, which would tend to leave a burr. And then it cuts the OD, and then that way it cuts that burr off. And then when it cuts the chamfer for the parting, the edge break, that comes in and does it like that. So that pushes it into the stock, and then it comes and does the parting. So there shouldn't be a burr there either. We will see. This parting tool isn't exactly sharp, and if I have too much grief with it, I think I'm going to put a high-speed steel one in and make it nice and sharp. And it should repeat 4 times. And then I can pull it back out and do it again. I cut down all of the clearances and everything like that, so the tool doesn't travel away from the stock any more than it really needs to. So one thing I did to kind of cheat, carbide is usually pretty dull. I took a diamond hone and went across the top of it flat to sharpen it up. That made the biggest difference of anything with the speeds and feeds. So, because the challenge is that just like there's a burr here, you know, on the backside, that's from the parting tool, you know, going in and cutting on the backside, and it just pushes that, because it cuts, it also heats up and melts. So when you watch the tool path now, when it comes back and does the chamfer, it was leaving a little burr, so I moved the face cut to after the chamfer. So I cut the chamfer, and then I go down and I do the face cut. If it leaves a burr in the center, I got to go through and clean up those burrs after the fact anyway. Then it does the profile, cuts the top off in case there's any burr on the top there. And yeah, despite all the work, there's still some burrs, but not enough to, you know, make the part not usable kind of thing. And they're all good enough basically. And so when you watch the parting, you'll notice that it parts in, it plunges in, create clearance for the chamfer, and then it comes back and it does the edge break. Then it goes in 200 thou, maybe 220 thou, and then it pulls all the way back out and goes back in again. And I did that because when it does the chamfer, it's pushing down and was leaving a little burr on the backside edge here. So by pulling out and going back in, it helps to take that burr off. And this part here, not a whole lot I can do about that. Part of the reason why I sharpened this one up, I think I just gave away all my high-speed steel cutoff blades, parting tool blades, with the other lathe, with the little one, because I never used them, and now it's like, oh crap, I got a really good use for one. Because if I could make a really sharp cutoff blade, the burrs would, you know, I could cut them a whole lot faster, not have as many burrs. But I'm getting down to the end. This was the last bar. I figured I better shoot some more vid of how the tooling is now, how the speeds and feeds, and cycle time is just under 2 minutes. So this is where I have my G30, where it's parked, so that way it gives me plenty of space to be able to, you know, put the next tube in there. So when it gets down to here, and obviously there's not enough left there to do this, I just bring it out to where it's, you know, on the two pads, and I'm pushing down to get it to level out on the two bottom jaws. And I crank it down just a little bit tighter than the others, mainly because it will. And it'll come down, and basically it'll just cut some air here, but it makes it to where I only have that much waste instead of this much waste. And I get, you know, 2 more washers maybe. So out of 5 feet of bar, cutting it up and stuff like that, this is the waste I have. So basically less than 5 inches of waste out of a 5-foot bar. So these are ones that I gotta go through. They need a little extra love. A lot of them will be okay, but some of them just have, you know, like that's got a big burr on the side there, and I'll have to figure out. If I can't figure out how to take it off, get rid of it, well then these are trash. At least some of them. These are the ones that just came off the lathe, and then these are ones that I've actually checked, measured, deburred. So yeah, it's got a pretty big burr on the inside there. This side, not bad. And what I've found is, if I come in and do the small one first, my tool can hit the big one on the backside and make it bump and ruin my nice smooth chamfer. Basically, I come in here, and this is just a steel one as opposed to a treated one or carbide one or whatever, but you know, that's really all it takes to do that side, and then I can do this side nice and easy. And then I check it on the tube, and that's beautiful. And while it's on the tube, I spin it just to feel if there's any extra burrs or anything on the chamfers and that stuff, and those are good, so away it goes. Now, the other thing I check, 1.50. That's exactly, they're not all that. They're all within 5,000ths, but that's exactly what I wanted. OD wise, I think I just settled on, yeah, I'm about 10 thou small. Somewhere between 5 and 10 thou. That's fine. I really don't care as far as that goes, so. Because it's the thickness, the spacing, which even that isn't that critical. Yep. And it could be smoother, but you know, here's the thing. Once they're mounted in the car, because basically how that works is now the urethane bushing is in the dog bone. And once it's installed in the dog bone, then you lube it up and everything, and you slide the tube in, and then there's no getting the dog bone out. And then I made it to where these Delrin washers go on each side, so that the arms, the A-arms, when they get bolted in against it, the dog bone can't walk back and forth, okay, because that would put a sideways load on the urethane bushing, which isn't as good for it. Because what happens with the rubber ones, I don't have any of the rubber ones here, the dog bone pushes to one side so hard and it just destroys the rubber one rather quickly. Anyway, that's what the washers are there for.